Hey, how's it going, everyone? Outlaw Client here, back once again with another episode of the weekly podcast zone. So, in the last few weeks, we spoke a little bit about the PS5 reveal, then we spoke about Xbox's July showcase, and finally Nintendo and their mini direct. But for this week's episode, me and Takustar wanted to talk a bit about a franchise that's near and dear to our hearts. We wanted to talk a bit about Sonic the Hedgehog's 30th anniversary and pretty much Sonic's direction that it will be going in the future. And as I mentioned, today I have with me once again Takustar.
Hi guys, it's Takustar back for another episode today, and I'm definitely looking forward to this one today as we'll be discussing a series that's very near and dear to us. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, definitely a franchise we grew up with. But anyway, so back in 1991, well, I guess Sonic is a character that doesn't really need any introduction, but with a brief introduction here, I'll just say that Sonic was created or released back in 1991. He's had his ups and he's had his lows, definitely lows. But fast forward today, Sonic is nearly reaching his 30th anniversary, or he will do next year. But anyway, one of the things that sparked the conversation today was just the fact that Takashi Iizuka, aka the head of Sonic team, earlier back in June, he had an interview with a Japanese website known as OtterQuest. Now, he answered a series of questions, but one of the questions that stood out the most was just OtterQuest's final question, which asked Iizuka about Sonic's 30th anniversary and what plans does Iizuka and Sonic team have for Sonic next year. And now, Iizuka didn't really give a detailed answer because, of course, you can imagine he can't exactly leak all the information, but he did mention that he'd like to take good care of two very popular iterations of Sonic's future. Anyway, with that question, or his answer, we just thought about what direction we'd want to see Sonic go in the future, what we'd expect out of the anniversary game, and pretty much just our impressions of all the games over the years, what we thought worked well and not so well. So I'll just be taking a look at all the different iterations, the 2Ds, the 3Ds, and hey, maybe we'll even touch on some of the spin-off games as well, like the racing games and so on. Keep in mind, guys, we won't be going over every single game because we will be here until next week if we do, but we'll try and keep it as brief as possible, but of course going over some of the main franchises in the series. So I think it'll be best to start off with Sonic's roots, the 2D games, and I think I'll start with one of the most iconic ones, of course. So back in 1996, Sonic's Schoolhouse was released. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We're definitely not going to Sonic's Schoolhouse. But on a serious note, back in 1991, Sonic's debut, Sonic the Hedgehog, aptly named, of course, released in order to rival Nintendo and Mario's franchise, which, needless to say, was very, very successful at the time, and it managed to help Sega take back control of the console market, or just the video games market in general. Anyway, so starting off with some of the things that I think worked. Well, Sonic was a smash hit. Most of the classic ones were a smash hit, but some of the main things that really made it stand apart from the competition at the time was just the fact that Sonic was, very quick. It was a brand new franchise, nothing that they'd seen before, or nothing that the video game market had seen before. And so it's just Sonic's bright colors, breakneck speed, certain things like parallax scrolling and all that. But one thing that I think the 2D games really was really strong, or something that they pulled off really well, was just the physics. I think that was like one of the main things, like the game's physics. It felt like you were really going fast. It was like an accomplishment, like your speed was rewarded, and the physics such as spin, like when you spin just going up and down hills, it really felt like there were physics there and you would gain momentum and stuff like that. Takustar, I know I'm probably going to go on for like a year if I don't ask if you have any other impressions as well of what made the classic games so good. And also feel free to just chime in at any point, because I know I like to just go off on and on. But yeah, what do you think really made Sonic 1 successful? Or what do you think are some of the best features?
I just think it was you saying the parallax scrolling. I think just the colors itself, the game was much more colorful than what Mario was at the time anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just its use of physics as well. And I think like the way it, because I don't know if you noticed, a lot of platformers at the time, the way that the level the levels were designed. They didn't have like slopes. They didn't have like bendy terrain and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Sonic had that, and his abilities took advantage of that. So that, yeah, it was something. It was just something never seen before.
Exactly. Yeah, it was revolutionary for its time, and of course that's the sales pretty much backed it up. But yeah, of course, Sonic 1. I don't want to dwell on Sonic 1 for too long, but as I was saying, there were things that it did need, or that I felt it was missing, but these were rectified in Sonic 2, which released in the following year. So anyway, I'm just thinking of if there's anything else to add to Sonic 1, because I know there's so many games and I don't want to dwell on it for too long, but in short, great start with the physics and Sonic's sense of speed. I have to admit, though, some things that I think didn't work that well, like the second level, like Green Hill Zone was fantastic, great sense of speed, but kind of when you got into Marble Zone, or just it slowed down quite a bit. But I mean, it did have the platforming puzzle elements. It did show that Sonic was more than just running through levels at breakneck speed. They did try and vary up the gameplay as well, but it would have been nice to have a more consistent level of speed. I don't think we really felt that speed again until maybe Spring Yard or Starlight Zone, but in general, Sonic 1 got off to a good start. Anyway,
because sorry, my bad. I was saying, because it was the first game, and there was no game like it. So I think in terms of level design, it was sort of hard to try blended platforming and speed at the same time. So that's why you had levels like Labyrinth Zone, where you do a lot of platforming, and then there was a lot of the underwater platforming section. So I feel like with Sonic 1, they were still kind of getting their feet wet and kind of understanding what makes Sonic.
Very true. Very true. You can't really fault them too much because, like you said, it was their first outing. So, yeah, there's that. But anyway, moving on to the next year, the Mega Drive saw the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, this is actually the best-selling in the 2D classic series. And, of course, it was released on the day that was dubbed Sonic Tuesday. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You won't hear any more of those puns from me. But, no, their official marketing campaign was Sonic Tuesday. Anyway, so the biggest feature of Sonic 2 was just the fact that a second player, or a second character known as Tails, was introduced, which kind of allowed for a two-player function in a way, or I don't know, 1.5 player, I guess you could call it. But well, there was the competition mode for a true two-player experience. But anyway, Tails was introduced, one of the iconic characters who's been a staple in the series throughout since his debut. Now, in terms of gameplay, I think one of the biggest things that they added was the spin dash. Now, of course, in Sonic 1, when you were stuck, below, or just below a steep incline, you kind of had to run back and then run forward again to build up that speed. But this time around, the spin dash kind of made that, well, it kept the gameplay running really quickly, because you could just, instead of having to run and waste a bit of time, you could just spin dash on the spot and it would help you get over those obstacles really quickly. Yeah, definitely vital to the gameplay, and I think as well the levels in general, like you can see that they're much faster paced. You had the Emerald Hill, and then Chemical Plant, and then all the other stages. They pretty much just the first few stages were all really fast paced in comparison to Sonic 1's stages that really slowed it down. Takustar, do you think Sonic 2 introduced any really huge mechanics?
Yeah, like you said, the spin dash, and I think for me, in terms of even the two player versus was really like, that was like I think for Sonic it was revolutionary, to be honest, because just being able to play with your friend, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like two player versus, that out of all the 2D games, I think Sonic 2 and 3 are probably the most fun I've had, two player versus mode.
Yeah, no, definitely fun modes. I mean, they didn't even need to add it, but it just seemed to work so well in the game. So yeah, but I can't really fault that. Trying to think of any other major things, but of course, Supersonic made his debut in that game as well, so that was a huge landmark in the series, and another staple that keeps on continuing to appear in the series. But yeah, Sonic 2 overall, another high point in the series. Now, I'm kind of debating. You think I should? Do you want to talk a bit about CD? I was going to go straight to 3, but
yeah. I mean, you can talk. It's like, yeah.
I mean, CD. It's of course it's still one of the mainline games, but it was very different compared to the other games. But I guess chronologically speaking, that was one of the game that came after, or at least in the main series, not counting like Sega Sonic Arcade, which also came out in '93. But anyway, going to Sonic CD. So I think Sonic CD really introduced the idea of like exploration. Now it wasn't as like fast paced as the previous Sonic game, but I think it kind of was like that kind of was the point. Like it was more of an exploration game. It wanted to move away from the pure breakneck speed. Of course, there was still a lot of speed in the stages, but again, like I was saying, there was still a good amount of speed and even more exploration in that game. And of course, each act also had like 3 variations of each zone. Sorry. So yeah, each zone had like 3 variations of them, like the past, the present, and the future. So that was pretty cool having the different time zones and stuff in there. Really added to the environment change. And also, of course, the introduction of Metal Sonic, one of the main villains, who also is another recurring character. Any thoughts from you, Takustar?
Sonic CD, like the time traveling mechanic was just a really cool concept. I'd like them to like explore it once again in the new game with the new games, because I feel like even when that game came out, they were still kind of figuring out what Sonic was at the time, and obviously that game was made at the same time that Sonic 2 was being made.
Yeah.
So it was tough for them to kind of know what direction to take Sonic. So I feel like now they kind of understand what Sonic is and what makes Sonic. So it would be kind of cool to go back to that mechanic.
Yeah.
In future games.
Very true. And I have to admit, like, I know I'm jumping the gun here a bit, but I think in games like future iterations like Sonic Mania, where they were taking inspiration from the previous games, I definitely feel like CD was huge inspiration, because there was a certain, a good level of exploration that I think we hadn't seen since CD. But I'm not gonna lie, guys, when I first played CD, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I have to admit it was Christian Whitehead's port for the newer consoles, the newer generation like the 360 and PS3, that kind of convinced me to really like CD, because they had the additional modes like playing as Tails, and I think Tails really did suit the exploration. Like just being able to travel around the world was by flight was definitely a huge thing. But in my opinion, I think the whole increased exploration was something that was seen in future games, namely Mania, and of course Mania is like the best-selling Sonic game of all time. So there's that. Oh, and of course Amy Rose, I can't forget about her being introduced in that game as well. Any other thoughts of Sonic CD?
I think that's it.
Yeah, same. I can't add too much else there myself. Sonic CD, not pure speed, but greatly contributed to like adding exploration in future titles. Now moving back on to the Mega Drive again in 1994, or also, of course, I should say Genesis for us American viewers. But moving on to Sonic 3. Now, of course, this game was infamous for being split up between Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, which actually came out the year later in '94, and of course it was later combined as like a double pack where you could combine them and make it the full game. So I'm really just going to refer to them as one game, to be honest, because I think that's how it was originally designed. And Sonic 3 and Knuckles, what can I say? Easily my favorite in the 2D series, in my opinion. So anyway, Sonic 3 also had a bit more, like, not as much exploration as CD, but I think it had more exploration than the previous, like Sonic 2 and Sonic 1, just like the multiple paths and stuff like that. But in addition to that, it also introduced another character, another staple, Knuckles the Echidna, and of course Knuckles being Sonic's main enemy. But one of the biggest things for me in Sonic 3 was just the fact that it also introduced the fact that you could play as the different characters individually. So no longer was Tails relegated to the second player slot with no other abilities. This time Tails had the ability to fly, and of course with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like when the expansion pack was added, you could also play as Knuckles as well, who added his own element, like his gliding and even his own paths, which in my opinion was like the best part of the classic series. Just all the characters, they all had their speed, but at the same time they all had their different abilities as well. So Knuckles gliding, the strength, Tails flying, and of course their different paths. So added a bit of variety to the game while still keeping the core element of speed. Another thing as well, I know Takustar, when I was talking to you about it before, you've mentioned to me quite a few times the elemental shields as well. I know they don't interact with the environment as much, but this was like the introduction of the elemental shields in that game. So what are your thoughts of Sonic 3 and Knuckles overall?
Like before Mania, to me Sonic 3 and Knuckles was like the holy grail of what every Sonic game should have. Elements that it should have.
Same.
And like I said to you before, I've always thought the elemental shields are like a good addition to the Sonic character's abilities, and I was just like even now I'm still so like surprised that they're not mainstays in the series anymore. And now they've got Wisp, and I just feel like there was a lot more they could do with the elemental shields when it comes to interacting with environments, which they sort of explored with Sonic Mania, with the shield being able to interact with different environments like the oils and the just different stuff like that. So I'd hope if in the future that you start using them again, and then try find ways to implement them with the momentum based gameplay and the environment to create like new ways of playing Sonic games.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, this is going to be the game where I'm going to start saying, oh, this is what I want to see in like future Sonic titles. And like you said, with the elemental shields, definitely one of the biggest features. It was kind of sad, like you were saying, that it took them until Mania to bring back the features. But of course, like the fire shield, Sonic and his double, like his dash forward, the bubble shield bouncing, and of course the electric shield, and just gathering rings and double jumping and stuff like that. That was really cool. But multiple pathways and elemental shield environmental interaction are like two of the main things that I'd love to see in the future game, or the 2D versions when the next Sonic Anniversary title comes around. And again, actually, before I go on as well, I just want to mention, because of Iizuka's statements on how we wanted to preserve both of the series, I think we might just have that chance of seeing both a 3D and 2D game. So I don't want to put it off the table, but of course this is like the 2D things that I want to see in the 2D games. Of course, I'd love to see a bit in the 3D, but at the moment we are talking about the classic ones, so I guess more so, or in my opinion, more so talking about what I want to see in the like a classic 2D style Sonic game. Oh, and of course I can't forget about the major point. Sonic 3 revolutionary in the fact that it actually made a water level fun to play. Shoutouts to Hydra City Zone.
And plus Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the first DLC.
Very true. Yes. DLC expansion packs. Yeah. Before the Sonic 3 was doing it, or Sonic Team was doing it before it was cool. So what else can we say? So I'm just looking past some of these other games. Sonic Drift, Triple Trouble, and so on. Game Gear games. Moving on to another main series game. Already spoke about Sonic and Knuckles. I was going to talk about Knuckles Chaotix. I think we can dust over that one. It had the ring mechanic, but it wasn't something that came back again. But hey, we got Mighty in Mania. So if I have to mention anything, hopefully we can see Espio and Charmy come back as well, and Vector. Maybe the full Chaotix. Maybe we can see another appearance from them in the 2D games with all of their abilities. Hey, if Ray can come back, I think those guys can come back as well. Let's see. Any other major 2D entries that you feel like I'm missing out on?
I think that's about it. Well, we could talk about the advanced games.
Oh, very true. Yeah, I nearly forgot. And even Rush. Maybe we could throw in Rush after as well. Yeah. But yes, so the advanced games as well. So it kind of went back to its roots again. Of course, Sonic Advanced, as the name suggests, being on Game Boy Advance, kind of went back to its roots, like with the character selects. Of course, it had Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, but it also had like Amy as playable. Was that her very first playable appearance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in 2D wise, yeah.
In the 2D games, not counting some of the party games and stuff like that, like Sonic Drift and all that. But I mean, in terms of like mainline games, I think that was her first playable appearance. So that was Yeah, in 2D games, I guess. So that was pretty cool feature. I guess in terms of like features that I'd love to see, maybe like the grinding. I know that was like I think was the first for the 2Ds.
For the 2Ds, yeah.
Games? Yeah, for the first for the 2D games as well.
In the first Sonic Advance, it was I think only Sonic could grind at the time.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
And,
the days.
well, I did like Sonic Advance, but I feel like Advance 2 was like it managed to modernize the classic gameplay, and I don't know, it was a bit more faster paced, and it was a bit more
Definitely.
What's the word? There was it had like a I don't
like
know,
the speed burst, wasn't it? Like a speed burst after you run.
Yeah, it was a bit more what's the word? I don't know. It felt more. I don't want to say it, but it felt more like it was a bit more what's the word?
Like a natural flow, or
not a natural flow, but it was there was a bit more pizzazz to the gameplay. Like it was a bit more, because you remember you had like those special moves you could do when you go on like a ramp, or you go like on a
oh yes, in Advanced 2, sorry, like you
yeah.
could spin, and I know what you mean. Added like special abilities to them, and to all the different characters and tricks and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those tricks. Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool, and also as well, because we moved on to Advanced 2, Cream the Rabbit as well, another character that was added.
Yeah.
A bit OP for my liking, you press that B button and everything, that Chao destroys everything, but I guess another character as well that I'd love to see in some of the future iterations or future 2D iterations. I don't think, has she appeared in any other 2D games as playable? I'm not too sure.
The last one was the Sonic Advance series, that was actually one.
Yeah.
See, with Advance 3, how do you feel about it? Because I don't really like Advance 3, it's weird.
I have to admit, I didn't play too much of it. I've only played like the first few levels. I never even finished it. So, I mean, I guess that kind of summed it up. I think it's definitely the weakest out of the advanced games, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Of course, it had that team mechanic, which wasn't.
Yeah, which I thought that was really cool, but it was just
the
level design wasn't the same as in Advance 2. That's why I think like Advance 2, in terms of like the 2D, like in the Advance series, the 2D gameplay, it managed to merge like that gameplay properly, like really in a really good way.
Yeah, same. I agree as well. It flowed. I just think it flowed really well in the first two. But with the third one, I know they added like hub worlds and stuff as well. I don't know if I really like that. I mean, I don't mind hub worlds. It's just if there's enough things to do
outside of them. Yeah,
exactly. And of course, we'll get to that. We'll be speaking about that in some of the 3D games. But the hub world wasn't a huge. I wasn't a huge fan of it. You probably did. You finish Sonic Advance 3?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you're probably more qualified to talk about Advance 3 than me. But I didn't even try all the character combinations, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it was a cool idea, but then it messes up certain characters' movesets, and it's not really. Yeah, it's.
No, I agree as well. It wasn't an amazing feature, or if they do include it in future games, maybe just refine it a bit. So, but the only team combination I really like is like Sonic and Tails in Mania, because of course I know Tails was also in Sonic 3, but I think it was only until Mania that you could actually control, like, get Tails to fly Sonic without the help of a second player. So that was a nice feature. But yeah, Advanced series, or at least Advanced 3, I think not something I want to see in the future games, to be honest. The Advanced 2, like the tricks and stuff, that would be definitely something cool that I would want to see come back. Okay, so right, another revolutionary game, Sonic Labyrinth. Now with Sonic, now
it's got a nice side. It's got one good song though. I think like that's about it. But game's weak. But I mean,
Sonic game classic, isn't it? It has to have at least one good track in there, one good music track. It doesn't matter how bad the gameplay is, it has to have one good music track in it. Yeah. I think for the main 2D series, I think we've about covered, well, in my opinion at least.
You actually forgot Elephant in the Room, Sonic 4.
Oh no, we don't.
I'm joking. We could just skip that one anyway, does it?
I think we skip it. I think we all know the true Sonic 4, and it ends with Mania. I think we'll skip out on Sonic 4. Didn't really bring anything new to the series, in my opinion, or nothing noteworthy that I'd like to see in future games. It brought a ton of boost pads with it, so I don't know. But either way, and of course, as I was saying, living up to the one good track rule in Sonic games. I think the Metal Sonic boss fight had some of the best music, or at least Metal Sonic's theme was pretty cool. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, moving on to, I guess I could move on to the 3D series now.
I guess we could, if we want to finish off we might as well just talk about Mania as well, right?
Oh, of course.
Round it up.
Mania. I mean, that's very true. I know there's a huge time leap there, but it's still one of the 2D games. So
yeah.
But no, do you want to start this one off? What are your thoughts of Mania?
No, but yeah. Anyway,
I need to say anything after that. You know, the clap that summed up all my thoughts. But
yeah. I like I said, like I think in terms of it's like basically what Sonic 3 had like created, like had as a foundation. It basically just it amplified that, and I think it's the best 2D Sonic game ever made of all time.
Yeah. No, I agree as well. Like, to be honest, I'm 50-50. I'm kind of like, whenever I say best Sonic games, I'm always like, I say 3 and Mania at the same time. And like, the only reason why I say that is just because of like the level selection. Like, you know, with Mania, it has quite a few. It has a few new stages. You know, you have Studiopolis, Mirage Saloon, Press Garden, and I believe it's Titanic Monarch. I think those are the only 4 stages. But then when you look at the rest of the stage list, just there's pretty much, you know, of course it was a homage to the previous games, but I would have definitely loved to see a lot more brand new stages. But at the same time, you think that they pretty much remade, especially Act 2 of these stages. They remade it so much that it kind of does feel like a brand new stage in a way. But in my opinion, the reason why I still hold Sonic 3 so high is just the fact that like 90% of the stages are just all brand new. So that's what I think was really cool. But no, as you were saying, it introduced a lot of good features. Like it had the super peel out, like pretty much the super peel out, the Sonic 3 jump shield, and of course the massive drop dash. Like it had them. Of course, those abilities were, the peel out and the Sonic jumping shield were introduced in previous games, but just having them all in one was a really cool feature that I'd love to see in the future games. Although you had to enable it with a cheat code, but just having all 3 of those, being able to access all of them, was a huge key. Of course, the elemental shields we talked about, huge, like interacting with the environment, huge thing that we want to see. In other parts as well, like wacky mechanics, like not completely taking over the gameplay, but certain things like the Puyo boss fight in Chemical Plant Zone, that was one of my absolute biggest highlights in Sonic Mania. So that's kind of something I want to see as well, not just like the traditional boss fights, but maybe if they varied up the boss fights as well to have those wacky things as well. I mean, I don't absolutely hate the boss fights in the classic games, but it was just, in a lot of cases, it was just a case of hitting Eggman, just hitting his machine like 8 times, and it wasn't too much strategy in a lot of the boss. I mean, I don't want to detract too much from the boss fights, but I just think that Mania had the strongest boss fights in all of the 2D games. What do you think, Takustar?
Yeah, like I'm just agreeing with basically everything you just said. Like what I said before, like it's the best. It's basically just perfect, not perfect. 2D Sonic game should be like going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. And as you're saying, like since Mania, before it was Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but again, I do think the golden standard now is probably Sonic Mania. Just in terms of like the animation quality improvement from 3, and just a ton of other features, extra modes, medals, and there I go again, going off on Mania, and I'd probably end up talking about it for another hour. But all in all, Mania, great game, incredible attention to detail. T. Lopes' soundtrack, 11 out of 10. Pretty much just a ton of things we want to see in a future 2D Sonic game. That is, hopefully the inspiration will be from Mania, and who knows, maybe even a Mania 2 would be great. Anyway, so I think that about covers the 2D era, and I know that's like my 3rd time saying it, so I think it's for real this time. But anyway, moving on. Back in 1998, Sonic made his first jump. Well, I was going to say first jump into 3D. I mean, I guess we have Sonic 3D Blast for that back in 1996. But in terms of like the true mainline series, it was Sonic Adventure back in 1998 was the true first fully evolved 3D Sonic game, or mainline series game, as I mentioned. And that featured a grand total of 6 characters that you could play as. They all had their unique storyline perspectives and everything. And I guess Sonic Adventure was the game that really started to elaborate on the story, I guess. I know you had little cutscenes in like Sonic 3, you had like, the Knuckles and really short cutscenes, but of course in Sonic Adventure it had like the full-blown cutscenes, and I think that's the game that started to really elaborate on the story and everything. Of course there were like power-ups within the levels as well, which was a huge thing for the Sonic, like light speed, dash, and just power-ups for each of the characters as well, which was first for the series from what I can remember. Yeah. And of course what we mentioned before, like previously the hub worlds as well were introduced with hub worlds with like pretty much extra like missions and stuff to do within the hub worlds. But anyway, before I go off again, Takustar, do you have any other thoughts that you'd like to add, like any revolutionary features of Sonic Adventure?
Cat.
Oh, all right, Big the Cat. We've found the one feature that we need in the future 3D Sonic games, Big the Cat. Okay, no, you're speaking for yourself there.
Yeah, Jake, no, seriously, I really enjoyed I think the addition of a hub world was good at the time, and I feel I don't know, I just really in 3D games I appreciate a hub world. So I feel like the addition of having a hub world in Sonic Adventure was quite innovative for me. And obviously that continued into Sonic Unleashed as well. It was just nice having these characters we loved that were, we'd only seen 2D renditions of them. So now seeing them in 3D was just like really cool.
Yeah. Having
them move around in this world. So yeah.
And another huge thing as well, I mean, maybe it's kind of obvious to most people, but of course, just the redesign, the character redesign. So of course, Sonic lost his like previous chubby 2D look, and now he had his, brand new 3D model, lanky legs. Of course, the biggest sin, of course, is green eyes. No, I'm just kidding, guys. So let's not get into that one. But just the new redesign and everything. This was pretty much his defining 3D appearance. So that was massive. I definitely do want to see the modern Sonic. I mean, I know Iizuka did make the statement saying how he wanted to protect both the 2D and the 3D. So I think seeing Sonic 3D Sonic going forward is a given. But I mean, just the iconic design, of course, definitely want to see it being kept intact. And yeah, I don't think I don't think he really needs a redesign. I don't think you need to really fix what's not broken. So yeah, I wouldn't be too upset. But anyway, Sonic Adventure. DX. Should we really talk about DX? I know DX added. They didn't really add too much to the gameplay. I mean, it added the Metal Sonic, being able to play as Metal Sonic.
I just still class it as, to me, that was the first time I ever played Sonic Adventure, so I still class Sonic DX as Sonic Adventure. For me, anyway, just me personally, anyway. So.
Yeah, no, same here as well. I mean, I remember playing Sonic Adventure at like a friend's house like ages ago on their Dreamcast, but again, I didn't really fully experience, or I didn't own it until DX as well on GameCube. So yeah, you and me both, DX. And again, it is kind of like the definitive version anyway. Yeah, so But actually, in addition to Sonic Adventure, I don't think I can mention Sonic Adventure without mentioning the introduction of the Chao Garden.
Of course.
A huge feature that a lot of people have been longing for a very long time. Hasn't been seen since, I believe, like was Adventure 2 Battle was like the latest, or
you could say Sonic Advance 3, but
oh yeah, that's true. But in terms of like the garden,
of course,
garden and raising them and stuff, yeah. But no, you're right. It was in Advance 3 as well. I guess Cream covered that area for us. But just the Chao Garden and raising them. Like again, that was kind of a game within itself. If you didn't want to just play the action stages, you could have your your pet raising simulator there. Quite a lot of depth to it as well. Like you could raise them, give them different stats and then like race them and everything. again, it wasn't part of the main game, but it was a nice side distraction when you weren't playing the stages, and 100%. 100% something I want to see come back in future iterations, future 3D iterations. But again, the fans have spoken themselves for many, many years, so I think that's a given. I'm sure a lot of people want to see that as well. But yeah, Chao Garden, definitely. Give me Chao Karate and Chao Racing. I'll take it any day of the week. Any thoughts on yourself, on your Chao Garden? Are you a Chao Garden guy, or?
I wasn't a Chao Garden in Adventure 1. I was a Chao Garden guy in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Which I'm guessing we can kind of move on to next, right?
Yeah, I guess we should just move on to Sonic Adventure 2. But yeah, actually, speaking of Sonic Adventure 2, it did modify it in a way as well. So yeah, we'll get to that. But anyway, so moving on to 2001. Again, with the huge success of Adventure came Adventure 2 naturally, and also another Dreamcast title. So of course, Adventure 2 introduced some more huge characters. A fan favorite, Shadow the Hedgehog, alongside Rouge the Bat, and for the very first time we had Eggman as a playable character. Funnily enough, this was Tails nearly didn't make it in as a playable character, but of course with the fan demand, they threw Tails in as well, and he ended up having a gameplay mechanic very similar to Dr. Eggman. But anyway, like I said, introduction of some of the other main series characters like Shadow, and again, like another fan favorite character. Can't find the fourth Chaos Emerald to this day, but I mean, still quite an interesting character that I'm sure a lot of people love. Yeah, and again, it did introduce the different gameplay. I mean, I have to admit, actually, I didn't really talk about the gameplay styles in Adventure as well. You had the treasure hunting and running gun gameplay and stuff like that. It did have quite a variety of gameplay, but in my opinion, I kind of just want to focus on like the speed element, the speed characters mostly.
Those are like, that's what essentially what Sonic games are. Those speed levels are for.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was saying, it did have the different gameplay styles which were already present in Adventure, but again, I think definitely one of my favorite 3D titles. The music for a start. I mean, but I don't even know if we need to talk about music, because with Sonic games, they've always got a pretty good track. I think you can always bet your money on a good music track. But in terms of features that I want to see from Adventure, kind of similar to what I saw with Adventure 1 in a way, just the high-speed gameplay, capitalizing on Sonic and Shadow's gameplay style. Great level variety. Well, yeah, decent level variety. And I had a point that I just can't remember what I was about to mention. I'm really trying to stall out so I can remember it. But any thoughts, Takustar, while I try and remember what I was going to say?
Yeah, with Sonic Adventure 2, to be honest, I really hate the Tails and Knuckles treasure hunting stuff. I've always hated all that stuff. I've always liked, like, if I'm playing a Sonic game, I want to get from point A to B, and it has to be I have to be using speed somehow or momentum to get there. Yeah. So like I really enjoyed the Sonic and Shadow portions of the game. Edgy story, but at the time I thought it was the best. I thought it was the best story since sliced bread. Like, there was nothing.
Agreed. Yeah.
But now that I look at it as an adult, now I'm like, wow, this is really.
There are faults.
This is really shambolic. But yeah, no, it was a good fun at the time when I was young. When I was playing it, it was a lot of good fun. And I just I feel like that was like, to be honest, I feel like before Sonic Unleashed. Well, that was like the sort of last game where, well, I don't want to say it's the last game where they were ambitious, but I feel like during that time, Sonic Team were a bit more ambitious with their titles. Yeah, they started being a bit more ambitious when they started making 3D Sonic games anyway. So
definitely, they definitely took a risk with all those different gameplay styles. I have to admit, I'm probably one of the few people that actually didn't mind the treasure hunting stages. I don't know if it's just nostalgia blinding me at this point.
I think it might be nostalgia.
No, but I like exploring the stages. Maybe just reducing the number of emeralds and stuff you have to collect would be nice, maybe. But
I think it's nostalgia.
It could be a bit of nostalgia, but I genuinely, I went back to it like a week ago just to prepare myself for the podcast, but. I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind too much. Do you
know what it is? I feel like the problem is with a lot of the 3D games, they have they end up putting things in that don't naturally belong in what Sonic is.
Yeah.
So like, and then it's like it feels like you're playing a different game now. Like you don't get with like, obviously I don't want to, even though this is a podcast about Sonic, I'm always gonna compare Sonic and Mario together. You never get Luigi doing like bringing in what's the EGAD's machine thing in like
the poltergust.
Yeah, in like a Mario 3D world. Like he doesn't do that.
Very
Knuckles in the Sonic game, he'll start treasure hunting when in Sonic you're supposed to get from point A to B. So it's
Yeah, very true. Like I said, I don't mind it too much, but if it was in a future game, I definitely want it to be kept to a minimum, and of course, just mostly like a Sonic and Shadow style levels. But in terms of things from Adventure 2 that I wanted to see, mostly just the new characters that were introduced. I mean, I think Shadow's a staple of the series at this point.
I don't like Shadow anymore now, though, as well.
I'm not a huge fan of him, but I know that a lot of fans, I know he's a huge fan favorite. So I mean, he has kind of turned into Edgy the Hedgy in a lot of future games. But again, like I was saying, he is a fan favorite, so I guess we can't really drop him at this point. But yeah, actually, another thing before I forget as well, the multiplayer modes. Now, definitely the multiplayer features. So I know you're not really a huge fan of treasure hunting and like running and gunning, so I wouldn't be too upset if they didn't come back. But what I definitely want to see is at least like a 2-player mode, like with the battle, like in the Sonic Shadow, being able to play as like Amy Rose and Metal Sonic as well and stuff like that. There were nice side distractions. Of course, a lot of the stages were kind of cut down a bit, so maybe I'd love to see like more fleshed out stages and everything. But maybe, who knows, maybe even throw in some kart racing.
I wouldn't even mind.
Same as well, I wouldn't mind too much. But I think the Sonic and Shadow style speed stages would be a must in the new game. Any other thoughts yourself? How did you feel about the multiplayer mode?
Yeah, I really liked it. I remember when you always used to play as Amy Rose and used to like cheat.
I don't remember that. I remember you cheating though.
Nah, I never cheated.
But no, it was fun. I mean, it was just a side distraction from the main game, but it was still a lot of fun in my opinion. And actually, that kind of brings me with what I want to see in the future game. Like, we've had a lot of we haven't quite moved on to the boost games yet, but we've had a lot of the boost games. We've had like a Mania style revival, and in my opinion, I'd definitely love to see them give the adventure style another go once again. Definitely something I want to see in the future. But of course, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle came out as well. That was the main one that, of course, it came out for the GameCube after, but that was the one that really introduced the more multiplayer modes and stuff, and also like the fleshed out Chao modes and everything. So very similar games, but I guess Adventure 2 Battle was kind of like the definitive edition in a way. And once again, as well, I was in a similar boat to you. Like, Adventure 2 Battle was like the main one that I played and owned, so that's in my eyes, it's always like the definitive one. Let me see. I guess it introduced grinding as well in the 3D games.
Yeah.
Also another staple of the Sonic franchise in the modern ones. So I don't know if we have to be too worried about that not making an appearance. Yeah, those are definitely the main features that I'd love to see in future Sonic games. And in general, I just kind of want to see them borrow a lot of elements from the adventure games, or at least give it another try. Yeah. Anyway, moving forward. Well, actually, what do you think? I haven't missed any major things. Oh yeah, no, it seems about all right. Anyway, so moving forward,
we could kind of skip. To be honest, we could kind of skip the bad games, and you know what games I'm talking about, like Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, you want to skip Heroes? Okay.
Yeah, I don't really. I just feel like me and you have talked about it and said that's when the quality started diminishing.
Definitely. Yeah. Now I know this might be a controversial opinion, because I know Heroes has its huge fan base. I know actually for a lot of friends that I was talking to, Heroes was like their first Sonic game that they played, because that was really the time where it started. The first game,
it was like the second GameCube game as well. So
or pretty much the main one where it went truly multi-platform. Like
yeah.
And of course, we had the Sega consoles in the early days. Then, of course, GameCube, the adventure games. But then after, Heroes came out onto Xbox, PS2, PC. Pretty much all of the main consoles at the time. And also, if I do want to pick something from this moving forward into like a future game, then of course I just want to see like multi-platforms Well, again, it's not really a Heroes exclusive thing, but I mean, and of course with the future games, a lot of them are multi-platform anyway. I mean, just look at Mania; it's on practically all of the main consoles as well. So I don't think we have to worry too much about that. But yeah, I am kind of struggling to think of features that I want from a Heroes. Yeah, maybe if I had to do something positive, maybe just that was kind of the first 3D title that had an emphasis on exploration in a way, more exploration in the level than in terms of like the main, because of course we had the the Knuckles stages and stuff where you could explore in the stages, but I mean in terms of like speed gameplay in the same levels as well.
Of course, yeah.
They were like more open ended, so that was a cool feature. But I definitely agree.
No, sorry, carry on.
I was just gonna say I definitely agree with you. Like in terms of like this is where the quality kind of started to dip. But yeah, so
that was about it. I was just agreeing with you. Just the quality started dipping, and then obviously I think Shadow the Hedgehog, your favorite game.
No, we don't. Yeah, so 2 years later, of course, we had Shadow the Hedgehog, and there were guns, and there were let's not get too far into that.
I will say though, the cool thing about Shadow the Hedgehog was that it managed to. One thing I've always liked about Shadow is got the chaos powers. So they were integrated into the gameplay, which was something I'd like to see Sonic Team do. Like if Shadow can like use chaos control to stop like certain objects like at will in future games, that would be a cool thing to do.
That would be a really cool feature, yeah. As you said, this was like the first game that really utilized it in the gameplay. Like in Adventure 2, you'd see Sonic using chaos control in the cutscene to escape the pod and kind of stuff. But you never really got to see it in the gameplay, well, other than multiplayer battles. But in terms of like mainline story, definitely something I want to see more. Oh, and also another feature as well, a lot of people forget about, I think, is that I believe Shadow the Hedgehog was the first game where if you got hit, you'd lose 20 rings instead of every single one. So that's something I believe it is, to my knowledge anyway. So that's kind of something I want to see. Like, I'm not really a huge fan when you lose every single ring, to be honest. I know that happens in Mania, but I mean, they kind of got around that with the blue ring, bringing back the Knuckles Chaotix feature with the blue ring, where the giant ring would drop if you got a hit, and you could potentially collect them all back. So that was another feature. But just in terms of 3D Sonic games, I think this was the first one where you could like collect or you wouldn't lose all of your rings. So that definitely helps a lot, especially when you want to go for those higher ranks. But I really had to try there to get some positives out of Shadow the Hedgehog. So yeah. But I think that's about everything. Actually, you know what? I'm just looking at the timeline, and Sonic Rush, we're moving back to a 2D. I mean, it's kind of like a 2D/3D in a way.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never I don't know. I feel like the 2D games around the time were just good games anyway, regardless of how you look at it. So
very true.
Yeah. So and obviously Sonic Rush sort of influenced Unleashed, and the birth of the boost. But we can't get ahead of ourselves because we
can't get too ahead of ourselves.
Talk about that game.
Oh, I dreaded this moment. I really dreaded this moment. I was really trying to latch onto Sonic Rush because it was also 2005. But yes. So I mean, we could talk about Sonic Riders, but okay. No, let's just go to the main series. We had to get there at some point. So the infamous Sonic the Hedgehog in 2006 was released for 360 and PS3. Takustar, please, can you start this one off? I need some time to recover.
Good soundtrack.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Anything.
Do you know what I will say though? There was cool features. There was a lot of there was a buggy game, but there was cool features like how Sonic had like the different shoes you could change it. I feel like that's definitely something they need to expand on or put into future games to add a bit of more diversity in Sonic's gameplay as a character. But yeah, besides that, soundtrack.
It's kind of hard. I mean, I know there are fans of this game, but at the end of the day, I think I really think it's just a buggy mess.
Yeah.
And the quality, if you had any doubts, well, if you thought the quality dipped in Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, then this one is truly the bottom of the barrel, because very few redeeming qualities. But as you did mention, the shoe power-up mechanics would have been pretty cool. Also, the gem mechanics would have been really cool if it actually functioned properly. But it's interesting that they did try certain things like the barrier, and of course throwing the stone, which would let you essentially give you infinite jumps. It didn't quite work as it was intended. But in future Sonic games, I
was gonna say, I also feel like one thing they did kind of do right was integrate the other characters in the actual, like, they didn't make them do funny stuff like treasure hunting. They were like implemented in the actual stage, which was like a good thing. I feel like they should kind of try to do that going forward.
Yeah. So just in case if you're not too aware, or any of your viewers who aren't too aware of the mechanics in Sonic the Hedgehog, or you can pretty much play as the three main hedgehogs with Sonic, Shadow, and the brand new character Silver the Hedgehog, who had his psychic powers, of course. I think Silver might be a bit questionable just because he was so slow, but I mean, at the end of the day, it did stick to, no treasure hunting and run and gunning. Like, they did have their different abilities, but at the end of the day, they kind of needed to speed through the stage to get to the goal, which is very reminiscent of Sonic 3 and, just the classic 2D ones where you had Knuckles and Tails, and you could pretty much have their own pathways and stuff like that. Same levels, but different pathways. Not quite as well utilized as the 2D games, in my opinion, but it was kind of going in the right direction. But yeah, as I did mention, Silver the Hedgehog is kind of, they did try and make it like a run to the finish line, but the psychic powers, in my opinion, while cool, like, they tried to diversify it and it was a cool idea, it just was not executed well at all. I see you shaking your head, and that absolutely is my thoughts, my same thoughts as well. I'm just trying my best to squeeze something positive.
It's no use.
I think you're right there. But yeah, Silver's level. Nah, it's no use. I can't get any fun out of them, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we should quickly move on from this game. As we were saying, the one feature we do want at the phenomenal soundtrack, which is where I think most of the budget went to. Yeah, no, that's all I can really think of with Sonic 06. So moving on to some of the other 3D titles, do you want to talk about Secret Rings? I mean, I don't.
I'm not really. No,
Storybook games.
That's when I kind of stopped playing Sonic for a while.
Yeah, so yeah, understandable. I know as well. You did say that you kind of, or you didn't latch on to the Wii. You kind of missed.
I missed out. Yeah, so yeah.
The Storybook games were Wii titles, so it's understandable. But I don't really think they brought too much to the table. Too much, or too many things that I'd want to see in future games. But yeah, I guess there's that. Anyway, so moving on.
Beast, right?
Exactly, yeah. So the next game in the mainline series was Unleashed, which was released in 2008 for Wii, PS2, 360, and PS3. Now, I know it released for all those consoles, but the Wii and PS2 versions were kind of seen as the inferior versions, so I think I'll mostly focus it on 360 and PS3, because I can't really think of anything that the Wii and PS2 version did well that the 360 and PS3 version didn't do well. So I think I'll just focus on the 360 and PS3, aka the superior versions. Now, I have to admit, I've fully played through the Wii and PS2 versions, but not the 360 and PS3 versions. So I think you might be a bit more qualified than me to talk about Unleashed. But I don't know. Can you see any real positives? I mean, I know that you definitely like Unleashed a bit more than me. So
like, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I think that was the last game where they were like ambitious. Like they put a big budget on that. That was the last big game they tried everything, like the budget, the story. I feel like now Unleashed is a flawed game. It is a very flawed game, is in terms with the Werehog, which didn't really belong. It doesn't belong in the Sonic game. But that's what I was saying. Those little things that they put in that don't belong in the Sonic franchise. But when it comes to the boost gameplay. That game is amazing, and I feel like a lot of the fans have started to like realize, you know, it's probably like one of the better Sonic games to come out ever.
Yeah.
And
especially stages, I guess.
Yeah, the daytime stages, and I feel like it was a really ambitious game. It's flawed, but the story is really good. I feel like if Sonic games were telling a story, Sonic Unleashed was like, for me, it's the pinnacle of Sonic Sonic storytelling.
I definitely think it's really high up there as well in terms of storytelling. Of course, we didn't mention that the main mechanic, or the of course we had the boost gameplay, which was the first like main console version. Of course, we had the boost in Rush, but this was the first console game that really utilized it. But the second half, aka the midnight stages, was the Werehog, and that was the mechanic that we're talking about. It just does not feel like
it's not bad per se, it just does not fit in the game. It just does not fit in the game.
Yeah, and I thought it did get quite repetitive as well. Like, I don't know if it was exactly the same for the 360 and PS3 version, but with the Wii version, there was just so many annoying things, like the whole same theme playing every time for every enemy encounter.
Yeah.
Just the very, very slow platforming. I wasn't a huge fan of the Werehog at all, as I can imagine a lot of people weren't a fan of the Werehog as well. But yeah, I agree. Like, I know I did say that I mentioned I know it's kind of ironic now because I'm not liking the Werehog gameplay, but I did say I kind of like the treasure hunting and run and gun in adventure games. But I kind of felt like the Werehog was a lot more intrusive. Like, it was just such a huge part of the game. Of course, I know in adventure, you did have to play as, like, parts of the story, it forced you to play as the different characters. So maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite here, but what I'm trying to say is that I just was not a fan of the Werehog as well, and I thought it got repetitive very, very quickly. But yeah, as you were saying, the story was one of the best points of the game, in my opinion, as well. So if there was anything that I'd want from this game to be in the future Sonic 3D games, then it's definitely the story, or the story layout, if they do include one. But again, I wouldn't be too upset if they went back to the basics and it was just, you know, the classic story. Sonic's got to save the day.
I wouldn't even be like, I wouldn't even be mad about it. Like, I feel like if they were going to tell like a grand story, that's like Sonic Unleashed is like the base, because it's not like, it's a very endearing story. It's not too edgy, and it's not too so it's just like the perfect it's just like a Pixar movie, and I feel like that's what Sonic kind of needs to go for. And another thing as well, I really liked how they done the hub worlds in that game.
Yes, the hub worlds as well. Yeah, that was a huge part of the game, wasn't it, with the sun and moon medals and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a huge part. How did you feel about the hub worlds? Because I have to admit, on the Wii version, they didn't even have, like, it was pretty much just a 2D screen. So it was just pretty much a 2D screen, and you had to like select the stages on that 2D screen, and it wasn't as expansive. I did play a bit because I remember you let me borrow the 360 version, but I know you experienced it a lot more than me. What did you think of the hub worlds in that game?
With me, the reason I like hub worlds is because it puts other characters in this world, and then you see how they react to Sonic and how Sonic reacts to them. And then it is a bit of world building within the world in it, and it feels, it's nice to see that there's there's a bit of life in the world. So that was interesting as well. And also you had like the little collectibles that were hidden around the stage as well. I just feel like the hub world in Sonic Unleashed, the PS3 and hub worlds, that's the format they should go. And I just want like I feel like Sonic Unleashed was the last time Sonic Team was ambitious with a Sonic game. Like, they haven't been that ambitious, and even like lengthwise, I know the game was like lengthened by the Werehog being there, but even though it was a fairly long game, nowadays you can finish a Sonic game within 3 hours. So yeah,
they're very quick now. You can just speed past them. So yeah, I think final note, good story and hub worlds done right. So those are definitely the main points. But Unleashed, as you're saying, a lot of people looking back now and thinking, oh, it was a great Sonic game. I think that's kind of the trend now. People will be bashing it when it first comes out, and then a few years later, oh, it's the hidden gem of the series, and it's such a incredible game. But yeah, daytime stages, 50% good game in my opinion. Anyway, so moving on to the next main series games, we have Sonic Colors in 2010. Now this continued on with the boost mechanics, and essentially it was kind of like Unleashed, but just daytime stages in a way. Now, unlike Unleashed, it did kind of throw in a lot more like 2D sections. The story got a little bit cheesy as well. It kind of downgraded at that point, in my opinion. And of course, we had, I believe this was the first game with Craig Smith, wasn't it, voicing Sonic? Yeah,
Still
so
haven't used to.
yeah, no, a lot of fans haven't. I mean, I'm personally not. I don't mind too much, but yeah, I think some of the voice actors previously, I think more highly of some of the previous ones. But again, Roger Craig Smith, not too bad. But anyway, Sonic Colors was actually really, from what I remember, it was really well received. And of course, I can't forget about the Wisps as well, adding in those other power-ups, like replacing power-ups like the light speed dash and stuff like that with, of course, like Wisps like drill and fire, pretty much giving you ways to interact with the environment and take different paths, which I think was a cool idea. Maybe a little bit forced down your throat too much, but it was an interesting idea, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was an alright game. Again, I'm not the biggest Boost fan. I should have made that clear before, but I thought it was a step in the right direction for Colors. They were trying to take the best parts of Unleash and make it into a full game. What are your thoughts on Colors?
Yeah, I feel as a game in itself, Sonic Colors is a good game. You know, it took the best parts of Sonic Unleashed and, you know, made a really good game out of it. Story's whack.
Yeah, that I can agree.
But I feel like in the franchise, I feel like that game sort of changed a lot of things, as in the Wisp were cool in that game, but then I feel like if we go forward, as Sonic games go forward, you have these power-ups that sort of take abilities of, like, you know, someone that could be a future character in the game. They could have the power to hover and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like and obviously Iizuka said they were going to be mainstays going forward in the series, so that was something that was irking me a bit with the color powers. But yeah, as a game in itself, Sonic Colors, I did enjoy it. But yeah, it's definitely had an effect on the series going forward that I don't like. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Like, it kind of took Sonic in a different direction, and I agree as well. Like, I mostly agree with what you're saying. Like, I thought it was a great game as well, but the Boost gameplay in general, it wasn't really my huge thing. And again, like, you had Wisps, like Sonic was stripped of his light speed dash, and of course replaced with a Wisp instead. So like you were saying, it kind of feels like that would have been a power up that Sonic would have gotten like an adventure, but they just replaced it with a Wisp. So yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that either, but I think it was a solid entry. It didn't do anything that was a groundbreaking in my opinion, but I think it was an alright game.
It was a good game that was needed when Sonic needed a good game, basically.
Very true, yeah. And also, I should stress as well, we are talking about the Wii version as well, not the DS version, which is essentially Rush 3. But or in my opinion, that's exactly what it felt like with the boost meter and everything. It felt very, very similar. But anyway, so moving on to colors, because that's everything I can think of. Maybe I wouldn't mind Wisp power-ups, but maybe just not force down your throat too much, I guess, in future entries.
Would you rather have? This is what I was like. This is why I think the Wisps aren't. They put the series in a very weird place when it comes to playable characters going forward. Because
that's true. That is true.
It's going to be very. I don't know how they're going to do it, because this is why I think the elemental shields are better
ideas.
Yeah, better idea than having the Wisp, because they if you got a hover Wisp, it just takes Tails' ability to fly. So it's that's my gripes with the Wisps going forward. I don't know how they're gonna fix that. So
that's true. I can't argue with that.
Yeah. So
can't argue with that. I think maybe not ones that would replace your the friend's abilities. Maybe, I don't know, Cube, which doesn't really. I don't know. I don't feel like Cube really replaces any characters, or even Rocket. I guess, you know, maybe just one-off ones like that. But I'd definitely like to see a mixture of, like, mostly, you know, the like Tails and Knuckles, and then maybe a few Wisps that can't really replace any characters. But yeah, again, I wouldn't lose any sleep if Wisps didn't appear in the new one, so there's that as well. But yeah, something that we could pull from colors. So moving on from Sonic Colors, we moved to 2011, which was Sonic's 20th anniversary title, and this was Sonic Generations, which essentially brought back classic Sonic and blended in old with modern. And I think if anyone had any doubts that 2D Sonic wouldn't work nowadays or in that time period, then those were put to ease, because 2D Sonic was actually one of the highest points, in my opinion, in Generations. Or it wasn't perfect, but it seemed, in my opinion, it seemed to bring some of the best back to Sonic, or the Sonic franchise, and also as well with modern Sonic. Well, of course, it had a blend of the boost gameplay as well, so it pleased both types of fans. But again, at the end of the day, it still did have like that boost gameplay, but it just had a bit to appeal to fans. Now, I'm kind of struggling to think of new things in a way that it could bring to like the future Sonic games, just because of the fact that this was like a homage to like the previous games. It brought back all the classic stages and classic bosses and everything like that. So yeah, but if I had to, sorry,
you get it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if I had to think of anything, it was like the upgrade shop where you could like get the stuff like the I remember those like shields you could buy, and there was like skateboards and stuff like that. So it kind of brought back some of the power-ups, which again they were in some other Sonic games, like the Adventure series with the Lightspeed Dash and stuff like that. But maybe just certain one-off things like the skateboard and being able to buy the upgrades was a pretty cool idea. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree with you in that regard. I feel like it adds a bit more layer to the gameplay, having like the power ups you could buy, especially for speedrun. It allows for speedrunners to to experiment with different types of abilities to see which is the fastest way to to complete a stage, and it just adds a bit more meta game to what Sonic is already. And I feel like if they had that in games going forward, and they have a 2-player like racing aspect, it would be nice to have different players choose a different loadout where it affects Sonic's abilities in stages and stuff like that. So
that'd be quite interesting, yeah. And again as well, like just having the different abilities and being able to interact with the stage and go in different paths, like we saw in Mania. I know we're talking about 3D games, but we're going to be referring to Mania quite a lot, because I think it pulled off a lot of things that could apply to 3D Sonic games as well, just Sonic games in general. So that was my main takeaway from the game. Again, like I was saying, since it was a homage to the classic games, it had a lot of features from the classic games. So like things like we spoke about with the power-ups being in adventure, and some of the characters like Shadow and that was also adventure and so on. So yeah, the power-ups, buying the power-ups is probably just my main takeaway from the game that I'd like to see in future ones. So that was everything I can think of in Generations. Now, another Sonic game moving forward to 2013. Sonic Team once again went in a completely different direction, and they essentially ditched the boost gameplay, and they went with Lost World, which went to it was like a 3D platforming without the boost. My opinion, of course there was a Wii U and a 3DS version, which were quite different. I have to admit, I've played through mostly the 3DS version, while Takustar's played through mostly the Wii U version. So I think we have a good range of opinions on both versions. Now, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but this is actually my favorite 3D Sonic game since the Adventure series. I really enjoyed some of the methods, also like some of the abilities they gave Sonic, like the parkour abilities. I don't think the level layouts were perfect, but certain things like parkour allowing you to get to different parts of the stage was a really one of my favorite features of the series. Of course, the music is always good. The wisps were a bit intrusive again, but it at least gave you the option. You didn't have to use them. So yeah, those were my main positives. I don't want to get into the negatives until later, but I mean, Takustar, any major things that you loved about?
I liked the art when they changed the art style a bit. It was a bit more. It was simple. It was simple, but it was clean. A bit more
cartoony, wasn't it? In a way,
a bit more cartoony. Yeah. I liked it. It gave Sonic his sort of own identity in terms of in a cartoony type of way. The parkour system I thought was a good addition. It wasn't implemented in a very. I'm talking about the Wii U version. Wasn't implemented in a very good way. The level design was very lacking in the Wii U version. But I feel like the parkour system was a good addition to Sonic's moveset. But obviously it took away the momentum-based gameplay. Obviously, because you just had the run button, which sort of defeats the purpose. It doesn't reward you with, you don't get rewarded for keeping momentum up and stuff like that. So
very true. The sense of speed from like the adventure games and like you're saying, the momentum and everything kind of took a backseat in this game.
I will say it was a nice try. It was one game they'd done that, and it was okay. Like the implementation wasn't great. It was one game that they tried it, so I can't fault them that they didn't make a Sonic Lost World 2. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have minded like going back to the run system, like the when you hold down the button. I think like if they were to give this another go, I would love another edition of a run button. But maybe if you don't hold it down, you just walk normally like you do in the game. But if you hold it down, then maybe you could like start to run quicker and build up momentum, similar to like the adventure games, which I think it would make for good like platforming, like tricky platforming. And if you want to go faster and just build up momentum like normal, then hold down the run button. Which honestly, I wouldn't mind if they had that approach instead of just the two set speeds. But again, like I was saying, another really, really unpopular opinion, but I did prefer the 3DS version as well. I kind of think that they handled the 2D stages pretty well. I know in the 3D games, like a lot of them were like auto scrollers, like the 2D sections, and you couldn't really fully build up speed. But I think it was improved in the 3DS version, and even the parkour. Back to the parkour system again, like you were able to spin dash infinitely on the wall, so you could always keep your speed up. Actually, another thing I liked as well is the spin dash. Like I can't remember if it was the same on the 3DS, on the Wii U version, but when you spin dash, you could just like hold down the button, you could continuously spin dash. I mean, I know. I was gonna say it's great for speed runs. It's great for speed runs, but it is a bit. I know in terms of like rewarding you for speed, it's kind of just holding the button down. Yeah. But I thought,
it's basically just a boost. Like that's you know me, I'm not really a big fan of the boost. Yeah. I don't think in Sonic you should be given speed like at the beginning. Like you should work for the speed.
Very true. Very true. I think it worked well in some levels, but thinking back, I don't think Lost World had the best level design. So. I think maybe it wouldn't work too well in like future stages or better designed stages, but no, overall parkour system is probably the main feature that I want to see return from Lost World. I don't think it was a terrible game. It obviously wasn't perfect. A lot of faults. Absolutely terrible boss battles. I hope those don't come back.
We'll say the one cool thing was the when they sort of had the Zelda DLC. That was amazing. That was amazing because it sort of opened up how Sonic with that gameplay would work in like an open field level. Yeah,
that was definitely one of my favorite features as well. The DLC, just as you said, huge open world design, unlike most of the linear stages in the game. But again, I think if they combine that Zelda DLC style, the Zelda DLC style with like the momentum-based gameplay and adventure, then I think we might be onto something.
Definitely.
We might be onto a winner. But yeah, as I was saying, Lost World improved run trigger, like holding down the button for the run, alongside parkour would be my two main features that I'd like to see in future games. How far are we? Anyway, about an hour. Okay, nearly an hour and a half. But I think we're getting to the end anyway. So moving forward, we do have some masterpieces here. We have Rise of Lyric and Shattered Crystal. Or maybe we should skip over those. What do you think?
We skip over.
Yeah.
It's not made by Sonic Team, then it's not.
Yeah. And in short as well.
Let's just not talk.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the best. I think a lot of people would agree with us. But yeah, we are near to the end, aren't we? Of course, we had Mania. Well, I mean, we had Mania first, and of course we did talk about that already. But I think Forces. I'm trying to look in between if we've missed out anything. I'm really trying to avoid this, but we're gonna have to get there eventually, so we might as well just get to it. So anyway, next up, of course, we had Sonic Forces, which I believe was it 2019 now? Oh no,
It's 18.
it's 2018. Yeah, it's hard to believe, man. The time. No, 20. You're right, 2017. Wow, it's
Wow.
it's crazy. It's like, wow, it felt like it was last year, but man, 3 years already. Can you believe it? Anyway, so Sonic Forces, moving on to 2017, of course, released on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And for a second, I kind of thought it was on 360 and PS3, but anyway, so Forces reintroduced the 2D style alongside 3D gameplay, kind of like with Generations back in 2011. And of course, it also introduced the customizable character, the Avatar, which was like a tag team mode with Sonic. Honestly, I'm looking at my notes here and I'm just seeing blank lines because I can't really see anything that I'd want to have in the future games. I mean, I know maybe a lot of the younger fans, and of course, you know, a lot of the games nowadays are aimed at the younger fans, of course. But maybe the younger fans would love the Avatar customization stuff. But me personally, it kind of seemed a little on the redundant side, and they even made Sonic or classic Sonic play even worse in this version. And modern Sonic kind of seemed like a step backwards as well. And I know they reintroduced the double jump from which didn't appear since Colors, I believe, but it was so pitiful that I wouldn't have been upset if they left it out altogether. Takustar, I'm sorry, I really am struggling here. Do you think of any positives that you'd love to see in the future game?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, this game was garbage.
It's kind of trash.
This game was garbage. It was trash. Like
it was trash.
Like this is when I realized how bad 3D Sonic games have gotten. Like the fact that it's like the game practically plays itself.
Yeah.
Certain parts, and then it was just so bad, man. It was bad.
It was pretty bad. This is definitely something I don't want to see in the future games. It's just they brought a lot of redundant things, and again, like they did bring back classic Sonic, which was well received. It was well received, in Generations and of course Mania. But then this just seemed like a step backwards. Like, how do you mess up classic Sonic gameplay? It just felt really clunky, not as responsive. Of course, Generations wasn't perfect. I don't think it wasn't a perfect replication of the physics back in the classic Sonic games, but this one just seemed to take another step backwards, and it just felt so clunky. You'd lose all your momentum at certain points, going up ramps and stuff, and it was just not a great experience. And even the Avatar gameplays kind of just seemed redundant because, again, it played just like modern Sonic in a way without the boost. It was just even slower. I know they gave you those weapons, but they all seemed kind of similar. So I don't know.
It's just even when you use Sonic, it's like this is when I kind of noticed that the boost gameplay is really bad for Sonic. Like, it's just really bad. It's really bad gameplay design. Going forward, because Sonic gets so much momentum going forward, you don't even build it up, and you can't maneuver around certain parts of the stage. Like, even to maneuver Sonic around the curve, it's like you have to fight Sonic's speed to do it, and it's like, this is when I kind of realized, like, I really hate the boost. Like, I'm okay with it going. Like, it was fun while it lasted, but it's time for something new. Like, I'd be so surprised if the next game is a boost game. Like, I don't know how,
as well. Same.
I don't know how they can't. It doesn't, like, it's not rewarding anymore. Like, it's I don't know.
I think it might have run its course. I think.
Yeah.
Might have run its course, but again, we're saying this, and it does seem like they'd change it up now. But at the end of the day, we had Generations, and then it went straight to Lost World. So I mean, we're not too sure what SEGA are going to be thinking. We don't know what's going on in Iizuka's mind, or we just don't know. But at the end of the day, me personally, I'd love to see another take on the adventure series, because it seems like they've tried to bring back all the other styles, and I just feel like if they are bringing anything back, then maybe the adventure style gameplay would be great, alongside the features that we spoke about being blended in. well, at least for the 3D games anyway. And of course for the 2D games, we feel like Mania is kind of the golden standard. So it would be great if they could build off that with the features that we mentioned. But yeah, I think that about wraps up the mainline series games. Okay, and lastly, we wanted to talk a little bit about SEGA, a recent announcement that they made, and this is to do with Sonic's anniversary. Now, first up, SEGA mentioned certain things on there, such as the fact that they're a global licensing powerhouse with major category representation worldwide, over $6 billion in revenue, the number of games sold, which is sitting at 920 million, alongside the fact that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is like $300 million worldwide gross, which is like the highest selling video game movie of all time. But the last and the most important features that they mentioned was the fact that the 30th anniversary 2021, they'll be having certain events such as new games, digital content, events, major announcements, and a Taylor licensing program. Now, another thing that they announced after this was the fact that they'll be releasing a state-of-the-art Sonic Encyclo-speed-ia. That's right, guys. No encyclopedias here, only encyclopedias. And funnily enough, this is actually being published by Dark Horse. So again, this isn't any publisher. Dark Horse, I believe they also worked on the Hellboy series, so they have a lot of history in publishing certain things. Anyway, the quick description is that it says celebrate Sonic the Hedgehog's 30th anniversary with a full color hardcover historical retrospective that explores nearly every one of the Blue Speedster's video game appearances. Dive deep into the extensive lore and exhaustive detail of each of the games in Sonic's ever-expanding universe, from the beloved Sega Genesis to the most leading-edge video game consoles. This tome leaves no stone unturned, showcasing in-depth looks at the characters, settings, and stories from each exciting installment. Dark Horse Books and Sega present the Sonic the Hedgehog Encyclo-speed-ia, a must-have volume for any fan of Sonic, young or old. And also, I think it's worth mentioning that Ian Flynn, who's the current author of the comic series, is also involved. So, Takustar, are you quite sold by the Encyclo-speed-ia, or would you?
I mean, I never really collect like those big books and stuff like that, but for Sonic I probably will be buying one. Just, maybe there might be like development tidbits of certain games that have come out we don't know about, so it could be interesting in that regard.
I completely agree as well. I mean, also, sorry, more information here, but it will include 256 pages, so it seems like quite a bulky bit of information that we'll be getting for the games. And as you said, it kind of does depend on what they publish on it. If there's like unused concept art for all the games and stuff like that, then I think I can definitely see this one going on my shelf. But otherwise, I think I'll have to wait and see what they say. I mean, the fact that Dark Horse is publishing it kind of gives me a bit more hope, but it's just with the Sonic stuff nowadays just being up and down, the quality, you can just never tell too much. But again, like I said, on the plus side, the comic series it's been pretty well received, with Ian Flynn being the head author. So I don't know, but yeah, again, like I was saying, I'll just kind of have to wait and see. I'll remain cautiously optimistic. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
I think that's about it, to be honest. Just well, it's good that they managed to talk about that there's new games coming out next year in that press release. So yeah, I'm looking at I'll be looking forward to the jewelry collection, apparently it's bringing Sonic to life in jewelry form with the hip hop influence.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I remember seeing a lot of the merchandise. They did mention merchandise and other things that they were bringing out as well. I think I might have to pass on that one. The Encyclo-speed-ia was the main one for me that I was in. You
don't want no bling?
Nah, no bling. I mean, maybe I know if it comes in Big the Cat form, I know you said you'd pick that up straight away, so I'll keep a lookout for you. But me personally, I think I might have to pass on that Sonic bling, as tempting as it sounds. Takustar, any other things that you think? I know we've kind of
like what I said, I just want the next 3D Sonic game. I don't know if anyone at Sega is listening to this but yeah, just like I feel like Sonic Team's not as ambitious as they used to be anymore. Like they're not making. I don't see a Sonic game and think, oh wow, like they're really trying to like they're pushing, that they're going harder than they did before. Like, I don't get that anymore. And I feel like the last game that they done that was Sonic Unleashed. They just don't do that anymore. I don't know whether like they get like a crappy budget now or whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's not this, like, you don't even think of Sonic as their like their mascot character, because just, you know, that like the Yakuza budget seems bigger than the Sonic budget.
It is kind of unfortunate seeing that. And even going back to like Mania, when Christian Whitehead was pitching ideas, and he wanted to do like a brand new Sonic game, like a 2D Sonic game with like all new levels. But of course, Iizuka kind of brought him back and said, "Oh no, we have to pretty much, you know, majority classic games." So as you were saying, they're just not quite as adventurous. They know that if they slap Sonic on the title, it will sell copies. So they're kind of just playing it safe, and as you said, not really taking any huge risks or anything. So kind of sad to see. But going forward, I definitely do want to see them start taking more risks again, and
calculated
risks, of course. Yeah. Nothing too bizarre, but as you said, calculated risks, and hopefully, of course, overall, we just want a good Sonic game, pretty much.
It's been. I think the next one has to be the one. It's been 30 years, like now. Like, I believe they can do it with the next one. It's just they have to be. I feel like they're handling the brand a bit better now with the movie coming out and whatnot, you know, and with the release of Mania, and you know, just taking care of the brand a bit more. So I just want the 3D, get the next 3D game to be, you know, something, you know, like that's worth waiting 30 years for.
Very
20
true.
years, 40 years. So it has to be ambitious. Like, it's 30 years, guys. So,
exactly, this the anniversary. It's got to be something big, just like Generations. But yeah, of course, Iizuka and Sonic Team, they did mention about how they want to take their time now with the games. But I believe they said the same thing around Forces, so I don't know what to believe now. But anyway, our closing statements. Honestly, we could probably talk about this for another hour and a half, but we have to contain ourselves, and we have to stop at some point. So anyway, my closing statements, I really do want to see them, as we said, calculated risks, and we kind of want to see them adopt maybe an adventure style gameplay if they are to go back to any other type of style. And of course, for the 2D style game, maybe build off of Mania and implement again a lot of the features that we spoke about. What do you think, Takustar? Any closing statements from you?
Similar to you. Just want them to take some calculated risks, be a bit more ambitious with the game in terms of like the story, you know, the length, you know, replayability, online chair gardens, all that stuff. And obviously, if you guys ever need like anything, you know, in like the subscribers, just leave them in the comments and stuff. We'd like to hear your thoughts and stuff.
Definitely. I know we covered a lot today, and of course, I can imagine that there will be a lot of fans. Maybe they think, 2D is the best, stay away from 3Ds, or maybe there are even some modern fans who don't want to see much of the 2D Sonic games anymore. They kind of just want it in a modern direction. You know, what do you guys think? Just let us know in the comments. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. Takustar, any?
Still working on it.
Still working on it. Okay, it's all good. It all takes time. Yeah. Building those IDs, it's a fine art. It can't be rushed. Exactly how we like our new Sonic games, not rushed. Need to take their times. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed watching this, then please leave a like and subscribe for future events, or to know when we put out our future podcasts. It's really appreciated, and you know, every like and subscribe helps a ton. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.